Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just over here hanging out. I was looking at the Bitcoin price, which is at 50,842.40. I was, doing some research, and the Fed is thinking about raising interest rates next year. If they do end up raising rates, it's going to raise interest on the debt, and it's going to make borrowing money more expensive. So naturally, people in that situation are going to be more reluctant to buy houses and get into auto debt and take out loans and credit cards, debt. The people who owe a lot on their credit card are going to have to pay even more in interest. And that's going to put a freeze on, a lot of the economy. A lot of people are not going to put as much money in the system. And, it's like a circle of life for the economy. And they say it's going to bring stocks down and also inevitably Bitcoin. So we've seen Bitcoin trade with the markets. A lot of people were looking at it as an inflation hedge, but now we know, at least right now, it follows the stock market. Whether or not institutions will put their money in there, when they see this happening as a chance to curb the inflation is yet to be seen. That would be quite nice, but all the evidence and math we have so far, says we're still in the cycles, and when this happens, stocks and, Bitcoin will also go down with it. So maybe a rough bear market for a while. So that's something to think about. See, it says the Fed will halt asset purchases by March and hike rates. Now, they can't raise the interest too high, our theory is, because that would raise the interest on the debt, and we print out money like crazy, and we're barely paying the interest on the debt with all the tax money. So look out for the government to start taxing people too, if possible. So they may just try to hike rates enough to where you're not going to make any money in your savings account, but high enough to where they'll make a lot of money off of credit card interest and people with debt, and repossess assets and tax people more. And that's not a very good situation. Like in the 70s, I've heard they've had the inflationary period back then, and it's looking like we could end up in the same thing. We'll see what happens next year if they're brave enough to try to test the waters on that. And a lot of people are leaving more expensive areas to places like Nevada, like Summerlin. People are leaving high tax rate areas and going to areas that are cheaper. Can't blame them. I was looking at some electronic gadgetry news. They got the Samsung Fold, which is a very cool phone. I got the Note 20. But, the S22 Ultra is coming out in February or March, and when you look at the Fold, it's a cool phone. I mean, it's the first of its kind to really fold. This is new technology. It's cool, but the camera's not up to specs of even the Note 20. It doesn't have expandable memory. The specs just aren't up to even the Note 20. So when the S22 Ultra comes out, it's going to have even better cameras, than the Note 20 or the S21 Ultra. So it's looking like the S22 Ultra is going to be the one to look at. The Fold, if you're not really a tech person, you just want to look cool. But if you're really into those specs and that camera, and you're going to want the S22 Ultra. And so that seems to be what's going on in the world today. All the debt, and everybody's trying to figure out how to gamble on the stock markets. And if you look at people like Robert Kiyosaki, he's buying gold, silver, and Bitcoin because he sees, the Fed and the government screwing up and running up too much debt. And so he's looking at gold because it's always been historically, it's not going to make you rich, but it's always held. Like if you already have money and you want to, if the price of everything goes up and you don't want your dollar devalued, you're like a $20 doesn't go as far as it used to. You put it in gold, that way you'll always be able to get your value out of it, because the price of gold will adjust and the price per ounce will go up. So, and then Bitcoin, people are hoping it gets more institutional adoption, and it's like a digital gold, but it has the ability to skyrocket in price as more people in the market cap goes up on it. And so people are looking at cryptocurrencies because people from all over the world put their money into it. And if it becomes a new standard for money, instead of digital money, people start using like XRP and altcoins to buy things, but use Bitcoin as their store of value. And Bitcoin's getting more advanced all the time. It's getting stuff added to it all the time, upgrades. Well, not all the time, but it is getting upgrades slowly, and you can't dismiss it. I think it's here to stay, and a lot of people realize it's a good place to put your money, especially when you're traveling or you're sending money to people overseas. And Bitcoin is a really big network. It's very secure, and you're not going to be able to counterfeit it or anything like that. So people trust it. You just got to be careful not to leave it on exchanges because people will hack it. It has been happened. So, but you put it on a hardware wallet, like a Ledger or a Trezor, and you keep your backup keys in like one of those metal cylinders that have the little metal words that scroll that are also made of metal, in a safe or somewhere. You'll be just fine. Even if you travel overseas and you lose your treasure, if you got like an 8 or more digit password that you memorize that no one else can access, you'll be fine. You'll be able to get to your backup keys and change, get a new treasure and put them in and get your money and move it over to the new one. So yeah, that's what's good about the Bitcoin. You can travel with it, and it's really hard to keep a gold bar in your backpack and go through the airport, and it's going to make a scene, and yeah, the Homeland Security and everything's not going to let that happen. So yeah, with Bitcoin, you could just take your little, or just put it on your phone. You can put it on a temporary wallet on your phone, go to the other place, and then put it on a treasure overseas. So there's a lot of options there to move your money from one place to the next when you're on vacation, or if you move or have a second house. If you're one of those ballers, big YouTubers, a lot of resources. Definitely is something to be looking at. And yeah, hopefully everybody had a good Christmas, and hopefully everybody's having fun. They got their gifts and their holiday treats and ready for 2022. So we'll see. We still have COVID lockdowns and vaccine passports and all these restrictions. And then we have the metaverse coming. They want to put people, they want to have like a virtual reality headset to where you can have a meeting with people. You can go anywhere in the world to anybody's office, or like you can go visit the Eiffel Tower. Someone's got a camera set up by it, and you could just walk around, and real time see what's going on. But it'll be like a virtual world, so you could travel to anywhere in the world. You want to go on vacation, you could go visit someplace, see a concert, football game. You want to see your sports. They'll have a camera, for the metaverse, right up in the action, maybe right on the football player's helmet. Well, you'll be able to be like like you bought a first class seat, like the owner personally, is how good the view will be. So that will be interesting. Yeah, to see how this all plays out. Some people really don't like the idea of going to a virtual world, and they don't want to be turned into a cyborg with Neuralink or something, because Elon Musk said that his Neuralink's going to be better than the metaverse. And he's got this, what's it called? Like he's going to have these Tesla Model Pi phones, and they're going to be running off he's got a satellite network, Starlink, and I imagine his cars and his Pi phones, if he makes them, and the Neuralink can operate off of this Starlink. So the internet is in the sky, in the satellites, so no matter where you are in the ocean, the Amazon jungle, you'll be connected to the internet. So, and people are buying property in the metaverse as much as real houses. They're spending millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on mansions in the metaverse. there's all these digital coins. Everybody's trying to figure out which ones to get, so they'll become, just take a few $1,000s and become a millionaire. Everyone's trying to figure out how to mine, cloud mine, trying to figure out a way to stake. Or they say be careful, because if there's a problem in the economy, the government may seize the coins on the exchanges, default on their debt, seize the coins on the exchanges, pay you back at fair market value, but then reprice the assets to much higher once they've got a hold of the assets. They've done that with gold in the past. So those are things, that's why you want to keep your money on like treasures and ledgers and stuff, hardware wallets basically. Yeah, you got to be careful. You want to hold your own keys. Say not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So I know it's really hard to do, because a lot of us like to mine, a lot of us like to stake and stuff, but you got to be very careful. You guys got to know the company you're dealing with and everything. Do your research and come up with a good plan that's best for you. And never spend more than you're willing to lose. Diversify if you can. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, and food and water, and you want to make sure to have all your ducks in a row. And yeah, what do you guys think of that Powerball? It's up to like, was it a couple $100 million? It was up high. I know the chances of winning the Powerball are like 1 in 300 million. Those aren't very good odds, but they say somebody has to win. $416 million. So, yeah, that's big money. I imagine you could put it in index funds, and then try to, put a big portion of it in index funds like the S&P 500 and hope you can live off the interest. Another thing you could do is buy gold, silver, Bitcoin. Of course, you want to keep everything in a very safe spot. And yeah, there's strategies. If you have that kind of money, yeah, you don't have to go out and buy real expensive things. You want to live off, like Kevin O'Leary says, live off your nut. So, like a squirrel puts its nut in the tree and stores its food. So the thinking is, if you buy like index funds that'll give you a guaranteed return, a safe return, because they say that, like Graham Stephan said, he had a monkey pick like random stocks and it did better than somebody who was trying to invest professionally. They say the S&P 500 outperforms 90% of investors because it goes over the market's been going up and up and up. It goes over the top 500 stocks, and overall the market goes up. So but if we have this problem with interest rates, we may see some downturns for a while. History has always shown the market always comes back if you just wait. So even if you won the lottery, you'd probably want to put it in index funds, because it's only going to go down so far. And with that kind of money, when you got millions and millions in there, you're always going to make a really good return. And of course, you can buy some real estate, like houses and apartment complexes that cash flow. People got to live somewhere, and there's no way they're going to live in a tent unless things are really bad. So safe bets, smart thinking, control your behavior. Don't go out and buy yachts and private jets. The only time you buy a private jet is when, you've got so much real estate and the government's going to tax the crap out of you, and you got to buy something, so you just buy like a jet, like Grant Cardone did, in order to get a big tax break. So, yeah, of course, you can always sell one of your assets and do a 1031 exchange or refinance, and as long as you have debt, they can't tax debt. So there are strategies out there to help you keep your money. And yeah, it's exciting, the Powerball. I mean, there was a guy a while back who got caught rigging the lottery, and he worked for the company, and they caught him when they figured out that whenever he worked as one of the programmers for the computers, and he programmed the machine. He was a security engineer. He programmed the machine to know what numbers were going to win. And he got caught because he would go find somebody, you know, and say, hey, you know, I'm going to have the winning ticket, and I'm going to go give this to you and split the money with me. You guys can Google this too. It was the man who rigged the lottery 5 times. So, before he got caught. And who was... he's an interesting character. And he got caught because he went to the gas station, bought some snacks with a hoodie on. And the lottery people, you know, they can look at the footage of your ticket. They can look and say, you know, make sure it's you that bought that ticket. And when they saw it wasn't him, they got suspicious, you know, and then they did some research and found out he worked at the lottery place. And they put 2 and 2 together and they went, oops, you know, and he got arrested. So I don't know if he got like jail time or if he just got probation. A lot of conspiracies that say, you know, they used to tell us that the balls were mechanical and that, you know, that there's no way it can be rigged because it's all random. But if this guy got on the computers and reprogrammed, that shows you it's not mechanical. It is done with a random generator, you know, at the very least. If it's honest, it's done with a random generator and it's susceptible. So for all we know, you know, because when you buy these lottery tickets, it records, you know, the computer can record every single ticket buy. So that's how they know who won. You know, this gas station won. As soon as the lottery draws over, they say, oh, we know the winners because the computer records all the numbers that are bought. So they could technically, there's no way we would know. They could just go, here's all the tickets that have been bought. Let's generate a number that hadn't been picked. You know, and then that'll make the lottery go higher. Or they can say, let's generate a number one of our friends or family members, you know, and make them win. And then there's no way we would know. And that's why people are kind of a little more leery of the lottery, I think. A lot of people are suspicious it could be a scam. So I even look at the people who play scratch-offs. They say hardly anybody wins. So, yeah, you just never know. The odds are already so bad. You know, 1 out of 300 million. You know, even if you were in a sports stadium and they were giving away one car, with all those people, would you feel like you're the winner? And then you got to look at the whole United States, 300 million. The chances are like almost none. And then you got to worry about, you know, the scam of it. Is it a scam? How would we know if they didn't have an agent, you know, or somebody that worked for them, their family member or something that won, and then they just collect the money, and we would have no way to figure it out. You know, and that lottery, they try to trace the taxes to see where the money goes. They say it doesn't even go to the schools and stuff they promise it to. So it's a very corrupt world out here, and you got to be careful. Of course, $2 isn't going to break the bank, but yeah, you got to wonder, would the government allow somebody to have that kind of amount of money too? Would they want you? Because who knows what somebody could do with hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, if they wanted to. So some kind of Bond villain, you know, who knows? I doubt it, but you just never know. That, you know, the powers that be would want somebody to have that kind of money. I'm sure most people would just invest it and live off the interest and, you know, get themselves a decent house and just enjoy the view, you know, and maybe invest in Bitcoin mine or, you know, come up with some adventures. But there might be some crazy person out there who wants to buy a military with it, you know. So, yeah, you never know. But yeah, I'm just over here thinking out loud, you know, looking at the world and events and everything that seems to be going on the computer. And thought I'd just have a chat with you guys. And yeah, hopefully, guys, you'll come and say hi to my channel. And I'll see you guys around.